Hi everybody, I am Aliera of Wayrest, the runaway queen, the arms dealer, the thief. It is very common to take names from games and make them into your handle. Mine was actually the other way around. They asked if they could use it in the game. I was beta testing along with my dad, well underneath him actually. My dad's Akatosh. And I said fine. He said fine. We were all fine. Everybody was fine here. I think I loaded the wrong flippin' game. So, I wound up in a video game. How about that, huh? So, it was definitely an interesting experience. I went all the way back to Arena and I'm doing a playthrough. So, looking for the Minotaur, what do you think? What are the odds it's still in a stinking dungeon's right one? So, it's not. I kind of don't believe that I would have dropped all the way back there. I feel like I got further than that. You're along for the experience, for the whole ride, for the whole thing. We're keeping it extra real for you. No, that's definitely not it. I did not save my game. This is like every bad meme about that ever. Alright, where am I on this? So I still explored most of this. And I have enemies coming up. Hi, sweetie. You gonna help me kill a Minotaur? With me died the last hope for justice. It's true. Every time. Sadder words have never been spoken. Oh, you know what? I bet you I have a potion. We'll just go all out and use it. We're going crazy here. We're flipping like a sultan. You know what? Go down. Alright. Down he goes. That's generally what they do mean by that. So, what can I carry out of this? I'm gonna go with not much. I am already encumbered. I actually need to get back out to Dragon's Rest. I currently have this theory that nowhere in Dragon's Rest is this Minotaur. That he has actually already left or been slain by another adventurer. Hello, game. Uh-oh. Hello, game. Hello. Come back to life. No, don't be dead, dude. Ted! Oh, that's unfortunate. Yep. That's a dead soldier there. Alright. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. We'll close him down and start back up. We're keeping it extra real this playthrough. It's full on. We're doing one cut. Given that I was actually originally intending to live stream and then just you know, basically be able to talk everybody through everything that I knew that maybe they didn't about the world of Tamriel and the back end of how this got made and what was going on and all that good stuff. And I actually just don't have enough followers yet. It turns out not that many people know who I am, which is hilarious. Quite a few people know who my father is, but he passed away last August, and he was never, like, he's a quintessential gamer and programmer. My dad's Akatosh. My dad was Akatosh. He's a quintessential gamer and programmer. He never really, you know, you'd find him online in Lord of the Rings or whatever, and yeah, he was Akatosh, and it was no big deal. Just the #1 god, the #1 PC game ever, you know. Just a beta tester, which is like every gamer's dream. But you know, he was him, and so he was never really into that whole, like, you know, I got born in Walton Argon, which is an extremely nice neighborhood. It wasn't far from where he grew up, but so I was actually born upper class, whereas he was born middle class, and it wasn't ever a noticeable difference. I don't even think that he noticed, you know, that he was like a made it to some people, you know. He was always very self-effacing. So it never really, like, it just didn't come up, you know. So, you know, he was never really into socializing, though, and we never made a big deal about it. You know, my dad was a very good father, and he took his responsibilities seriously. So, you know, I never made anything out of the fact that, you know, oh, well, you know, if I was able to go to New York City, then I could have hung out with, you know, some of the kids there and, you know, done more as far as, you know, being social is really, it's a huge thing in society. Like if you choose to participate, whoa, we got twins. If you choose to participate in society, that's really big. You know, you have to be able to go in and you have to be able to go places and socialize and so on. I got dropped in the drink there. So I never made a big deal out of that. It wasn't anything to me. We have a good school, like a really good university right here. It's ranked like 300 something globally, you know, so like it was whatever. I went to school here, traveled around some and so on my own time, and never really asked him to, you know, pony up on the name there. But now that he has passed away, I do want to go back through and be like, hey, you know, this is so cool because I know stuff and I know people, and this has like been a really fun experience, and I wanted to share it with you all. So that's the longhand version of essentially I'm in here dungeoneering because I can, because, you know, like I actually happen to be blessed enough to have like this really cool backstory that's mine, you know, and that I can go through and like I know I have a better sense than a lot of people on, you know, why the lore is the way the lore is and so on and stuff like that. And then I might also even know a few things that people forgot about, you know, that we're working on, or maybe they're new, you know, or don't come up in the forums just because this was what, like I want to say this was 1992 or 93. It must have been 93. 93 when this came out. So, or well, when they were working on it. And so, you know, that was like a big deal. It was the birth of computer gaming and the birth of the internet, the first of the forums. And so there was a lot in there that I think got missed, or might not have been a concern, like I said, with the socializing, where, you know, maybe it didn't occur to people like, hey, if you're doing this, you're working on stuff that the DoD is pioneering, you know, like the internet is a big deal, you know, like we giggle at Russia and everything because she has a closed internet. Well, so does China. These are second world countries that are becoming first world. I think Russia is already considered first world. But there are second world countries that are becoming first world, and they're struggling with this concept of media, which is a medium. It's something that we actually communicate through. So we use all different sort of signs and color schemes, and we can create an experience that's a keeper, that, you know, where we have our own culture, and you can really make changes that way. That are huge. That's awesome, you know, that's an unparalleled experience. And like I said, when you're really social, not necessarily sociable, very few of us are sociable, but very social, especially socially powerful, you know, where you influence, or you go to school, or you choose to participate in anything to do with, for instance, media, where you wind up involved in that cultural experience. That's a really big deal. So let me save here. I kind of recall dying a lot, and this is the only significant landmark that I found in here. So I want to see if this is going to do something for me. So I keep turning in a circle. I used to tease my best friend so bad about that in Oregon Trail. She would spin in a circle to try and get something. Nothing, huh? Like nothing. I have rats and that's it. You've got to be kidding me. So I found a shrine of some sort, and this must be like decorative. How crazy is that? So anyways, there's apparently no Minotaur in this dungeon. I'm calling it. No Minotaur. It's not here. And it's hilarious because I could have probably figured that out if I had traveled like one click north and to the east. So we'll go ahead and exit and keep exploring. But yeah, so I feel like I went to school for culture and communication at Military Co-op, one of the top 100 schools in the United States of America, for investigative journalism, or PR. Go Dragons. I was a Drexel Dragon, and turned around and got back into, you know, that portion of it is like still so cool to me, where you are the investigative journalism and PR falls under culture and communications in America. It's different for all sorts of countries. It really depends on how you view like government regulation, military effects, and then watchdogging by the populace. And then also, ironically, where your religion or religions fall, how you're going to handle that. So in the US of A, culture and communications is PR, investigative journalism, and technical editing. That's the corporate factor. So that's what I wound up going to school for. So naturally I turned around and was like, oh, this is where it, like, for me, it all started. So I'm going back through and, like, kind of seeing how that shaped things, because we did get this really awesome culture, and I did get to see it evolve where, one of the things that I joke around with people in forums and groups on Facebook, because feminism is still a really big thing for people. Like, that's still something that for a whole lot of people feels unfinished. And so my running joke, because I feel like people don't understand what's going on, like, why would you have a problem with this? Women can work at any job. Well, we can work at any job, but prejudice still exists. So how does that really manifest? And so my running joke is women want underpants that fit. Because if you've ever seen Street Fighter or anything like that, you can joke all you want about magical items and, maybe this chainmail, whatever the heck or whatever, has all the same properties as a breastplate that is the same, literal exact same item for a male. And that's not offensive in and of itself. It's not. Because that is true, because you can actually have literally exactly the same protection from something when you do include magical properties. But as far as dexterity, there's really not much going on here as far as the whole... Let me go south, because I see a couple of things there. I get sidetracked so easily, it's not funny. This is open world is horrible for me for that reason. I'm amazed I make it out of the grocery store. But if you look, for instance, at women's outfits in Street Fighter or in Mortal Kombat, etc., and to this day, I played one of the newer Soul Caliburs. I love Soul Calibur. It's one of the better fight games. But I played it, and I was just so frustrated. I'm like, if you have a frontal wedgie, male or female, you cannot, like, it's a distraction at the very least. If you, like, get hung up on that, you probably shouldn't be a Street Fighter. But it's a distraction at the very least. Like, this is actually a problem. So, I feel like that's kind of a very low-key way to express the issue at hand, which is, it's not that we're like, oh, because you'll get back and forth and you'll get hypocrisy where women are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Guys, they don't this, that, and the other thing when I'm in a group. And it's like, you don't walk into a group and you ask them to be or not to be something. You find a group that you're comfortable with, and there's a lot of demanding that goes on, and that's very counter to gamer culture. We just don't do that. I swear by all that is holy. Okay. So we just don't do that. Like, that's not okay, and that's something that people do need to learn as they enter the culture, that you are required to be open-minded, and that it is an adult culture. It is made to be adult. But on the flip side of that, if you're a dude and you're being a complete and total nerd, we are going to make fun of you, and that's one of the ways that our gamer women regulate that. So I feel like focusing on the fact that they're in their underpants, it's just like a nod to, okay, what's the deal with that? Because if I'm in a fight, I want, like, for instance, bikers will always encourage you to wear leather, because if your bike wipes out, and you hit the pavement, then you have to have some sort of protection, and it's there is no +1 in the real world, so you gotta accept that that's reflective. But yeah, so I would want to be wearing leather or something like that, and so then we have these chicks, and they don't even fit, and that's my problem. Like, that's just there's a whole lot of magic and charm and charisma and stuff like that people throw around to cover the fact that they really do want this playground where they don't have to play by the rules of society. And that's cool. People get that. There's still cigar clubs. There's still upper class clubs that, for instance, other people wouldn't be allowed in, and I'll be the first person to defend that. Like, if you have a membership to a high-end club, no, someone else doesn't just get to go in there. It's there for a reason. It's there so that you can be with your peer group. And that's very difficult to find without those rules. But you do also have to, by extension, at least be in reality. Like, when you start to exit reality, we have these, people out, when you have those people out there who are just like, I get to run you over because I'm upper class. Like, that's, you'll get cut off instantly for that, and that's in any culture. So it's the same thing to me. If this chick's underpants don't fit, like, don't even bother calling that clothing, and you're not allowed to be naked. So, like, can we do something about that? Like, this maybe can be addressed. That's my whole thing on that. So, as we were going through that, we had a number of awesome role models. We never, like, no stalker action, or, you know, like, that was something we were very aware of as the internet started, is you don't follow people around, you don't ask them for favors, you don't do stuff like that. You have forums for that reason. I'm trying to find a place I can offload my crap here. You have forums for that reason, to provide that safe group area to approach. And I'm still dealing with people on Facebook, which absolutely blows my mind, especially older people. The boomers are killing us, where, like, they'll be on my page and they'll say something out of context, and that's fine. Like, I get that my post appeared in their newsfeed, and that's a public area, but they'll say something back that they would never say in a public area. And to me, that is outstandingly bad, because, you know, then they'll say something along the lines of, to let me know that they're older, and so therefore I should back off, but they're on my page. Like, this is the internet, and I know how this works. Quiet down and listen to the rules of etiquette. Be aware of that, you know, be aware of, like, and it's sad because we do still have to teach these people, and, you know, obviously I've acculturated people who have emigrated and stuff like that, so, like, it's not the end of the world to me when that happens. I don't enjoy it if people make me deliberately angry. I feel that that's the most offensive thing that you can do in a place that you're not, in a form that you're not familiar with. In an area you're not familiar with. You should be at least be making an attempt to, you know. We got an inn. Oh, this is cool. We got a little island here. What's that? Food and drink? Let's check it out. Maybe I can sell some of my stuff. Order the Golden Tomb. A cool breeze follows you into the hallowed halls. You can hear chanting in the distance. But, you know, so we unfortunately have to teach these people about the internet, because they're just getting on there, and their kids want them on Facebook, and their kids are normals. So, like, it's just frustrating. You do actually have to tell them, you know, like, you're in a public place. You would never say that at a grocery store or at, you know, they talk like they're at a bar and they're in their, like, 60s, you know, and it's like, I know that you're a friend of a friend and all, but, like, you need to calm down, you know, like, millennials are grown up now, and we talk politics, and we take that seriously. We're the ones who are next, or present and next, who are going to be watchdogging the government and being, if you vote, you're actually supposed to hold your constituent to their campaign promises, and nobody apparently knows that. They're so busy gossiping that they don't get that they're not supposed to be talking to other people about it. You're supposed to actually be involved in the political process by emailing or corresponding directly with your representative, their secretarial and help staff, to make sure that, you know, this stuff is feasible for your government to carry out. So that's technically what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody does that. Well, we're the ones who are out there doing that now, so they need to calm down a little bit, because if they want, you know, if they want to be a part of creating a culture and they're in a place that they're not familiar with, then they need to step back. And as I was saying, we had a lot of great role models for that, where, you know, our parents were right there guiding us, where they were like, oh, okay, well, you know, we don't bother the people who are in the group, you're not a part of that group, and so on. We don't, you know, if you have a question, you run it past your parents. If, for instance, you know, your parents aren't there, or you're older or whatever, then you would run it past somebody who would know, you know, like, hey, how do I act in this situation? What sort of things am I allowed to ask these people? So I never went around being like, oh, you know, what does Mara eat for dinner? You know, like, did she have a bagel this morning? Or things that you would see on Twitter, because it was a forum. It was a private forum. It was CompuServe. They were like the AOL forums. So, you know, it wasn't this familiarity that we have now, where everyone seems to be in everyone else's business, and the more you know about their personal life, that's what makes them a role model. That is incorrect. And I'm talking with, I have a degree, I have a license to practice science. That's what a master's in science is I am actually licensed to practice science and culture and communications. And that's one of the other reasons I got back on here is started to see stuff on the internet that was just flat out alarming. Alright, so we swung around Dragon's Rest. Let's see if we can head, I keep thinking he's in a cave. I kind of vaguely remember that. So keep heading towards the mountains. But, yeah, the key there is moderation, where you're not friends with these people. You're not friends with politicians. You're not friends with the people that you run into online. It says friend to be attractive, just like it says healthy on cereals, although not in so many words, you know? Like, cereal is not healthy for you. It's junk food. You're supposed to eat eggs in the morning. But, you know, if that's your choice, that's your choice. And so on and so forth. So I was a little bit alarmed by that trend, and I wanted to get back into this, especially this. This is open world, so this is going to be more like, this is the Facebook of gaming, versus Twitter, which was an internal messaging system for audio. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that it was so successful as a texting program that they actually released it publicly. And Twitter was born, where you had to be concise and so on. But you also had access to celebrities' texts and so on if they chose to use it, and some people made their name that way. Which is cool. I actually use the platform quite frequently. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to receive very short... I have a cat hair on my nose, and I can't seem to get rid of it. But it's a very cool way to receive short messages, you know, updates, links to relevant articles if you follow like PC Gamer or something like that, or, you know, if you're a big fan of Xbox or so on. I'm an Xbox girl rather than PlayStation. I actually have a PlayStation, not an Xbox, because I'll tend to play Xbox games on my computer. Sometimes the controller works because they're both by Microsoft. But I did something about the PlayStation controller just bothers me, and they have this habit with their games. Like, I bought Call of Duty, I think it was, which I think is actually across several platforms. But it frustrated the heck out of me, because in the intro, I, for instance, did not receive a brief. I couldn't buy one, where it would tell me, like, what our camo looked like versus the enemy. So I ended up shooting a whole bunch of my own troops, which was hilariously bad. Oh, that's always nice. I wound up shooting a whole bunch of our own troops and stuff like that, you know, off the drop. I couldn't keep up with my squad and so on. And I understand, you know, people practice before they do anything. That's so normal. Guys do it. Chicks, if you don't know that, guys practice before they play video games with you, so do that too. There's a naturally competitive thing that they have, where they probably don't even think anything of it. I'm so used to World of Warcraft that I want to, like, harvest things. So I'm getting into ESO next month. I've got, you know, obviously bills and whatnot, so kind of... What are the odds that the Minotaur doesn't live in a house? We've already decided this. There is no way that the Minotaur is this... It's still Dragon's Grove. You gotta be kidding me. I have to be able to zoom out here. Alright, well, we're still not to the mountains. They're still in the distance. We'll pick this mountain. It looks like a likely mountain. So, I think you ran into this a little bit. I'm trying to think of where. Just where it was a whole world. Shoot. I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, it was roughly at the same time. Keep getting hung up on trees. I should really just stick to a road. Dun, dun, dun. I think they went with quick travel in Morrowind, was it? Which obviously they don't want you to skip out on when enemies are near. One of the running jokes. Oh, you look good. Let's do this. Oh, are you a different city? Because that would be unfortunate. I gotta see a man about a Minotaur. You guys got anything for me? Oh, no. He doesn't live in a house. I'm supposed to be excited about exploring. I'm a very goal-oriented person, however, so let's, you know, don't take any bets on the odds of me being girlishly happy that I run into... Oh, dead body. Nice. So, I want my Minotaur. Goal orientation here. That, and I would also like, if I could find an armor to sell my crap to, as I'm encumbered. I was joking around in the groups where they were like, "How do I get my girlfriend into Skyrim?" And I was like, "Buy a huge map, a very detailed one, and store it directly above the TV. Like, put that sucker up there." Because I think that that's kind of the chick thing, where it's a little bit more dude oriented. Because in open world, girls are very like, shoot, I can't even take the staff. That's unfortunate. Girls are very goal oriented as far as they want, you know. We'll shop or whatever, but for instance, when we go shopping, we want a very specific kind of shoes, etc. So it's the same sort of thing where it's like, it's awesome to me that this is like there and I can run around and it's a whole world and I can forget my life. And I'm sure that's the purpose of it. Like, I feel absolutely good about that, but when I'm going to die 4,000 times, I like to feel that I'm getting closer to a goal as I do that. So it is what it is. A detailed map is always nice when that's the kind of thing that you're up against. Because I'm used to dungeon crawling still. I wonder what this does. And I wonder what this does. Apparently nothing. Should have just sold them. Let's try getting some sleep. I think I have until the 22nd to find this guy. 1 hour passed. And my game froze. This is actually fairly common for me. Well, I am Aliera of Wayrest. I am going to see if I can't find that more detailed map because this is like, I think we're into hour 2. I started making them a little bit longer because I did, like I said, originally intend to live stream. I went through and relicensed. I got a new computer and my Bandicam was licensed, so I wouldn't buy it again. So I went through the whole arduous process, which is 2 steps long, of relicensing my camera. I had kept it to 10 minutes because I do like to produce shorter clips whenever I'm reviewing a game. But since I am playing through, this way you can just skip to the next one. If for any reason you get bored, or if you wander away or so on, you can come back and check out the next episode where we're playing. So I'm Aliera of Wayrest. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. Drop us a like and subscribe so that we can play along. I'm rediscovering Tamriel, which I've known since I was a kid, but never, I always describe myself as an Elder Scrolls virgin. Aside from the betas, I hadn't played them through because it was so my dad's thing. So I went out and I got all of the lore stuff and everything, and I hopefully will have all of the Easter eggs for you, and you'll have an awesome experience. So like I said, thank you for watching. Drop us a like and subscribe, and as always, much love.